Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
These words from Thomas Fuller are extremely appropriate to this nation and all of us. You cannot repent too soon, because you do not know how soon it may be too late. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. We need some patriots to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Ah, there she is. Kate Smith. I will never stop that song with her singing it. She does a fantastic job. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. And our thanks also to Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything, underline that word, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at Valley Wide Home and Ranch. Let's see who we have for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Well, surprise, surprise. Give us the pledge, please.
Will do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank
you very much. And right now, it is time for the weather. And the weather is brought to us by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Yep, you're going to know these words. You look for the blue door. That's right. Number to call, 267-86945. All you need, whatever you need to make your house a home. And don't forget, they're going to have that community garage sale, and that's coming up on the 8th, just about, 3 days away from right now? Holy smokes, you better be ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun right there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor, newly refurbished furniture, all of this and more at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast. We do have a 50% chance of rain, showers, and thunderstorms for today. High of 80, but it is going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the west right around 13 miles an hour. That's going to carry through this evening with a low right near 54. Tomorrow, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will see sunny skies. High of 84 with an overnight low of 55. And for Friday and for the weekend, cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Chances of afternoon rain, showers, and thunderstorms. That's going to be throughout the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to mid-80s with lows in the mid-50s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
That does not sound too bad. Thank you very much, Gina. Cheney Flooring. It's Gina and Cheney. There we go. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door, and they bring us the weather. Hey, by the way, Ted's Diesel Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn, right there on Alfresco Road. And old Doug Martin, good old boy, can rebuild your starters, alternators, generators, you know that. And he also sells brand new. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Ted's Diesel Electric, moving to 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I got to go back just a minute. This is not on my list of things to talk about, but I was listening at 8 o'clock at the news. And a big question mark appeared over my head when I was listening to that news story about the Boston mayor saying that he is now going to push for a ban of the sale of all smokeless tobacco. Now, wait a minute. Stop the bus. And I really would like you to weigh in on this, even though it's not on my list of scheduled topics this morning. If it is still a legal product and the mayor's calling for a ban on sales, how legally can he do that? Or should he? Anything that is still a legal product and saleable in this United States should remain open and saleable to the general public. How dare someone, even though it might be unhealthy, even though there have been many cases where it's caused cancer, how can a person or persons decide what you should buy or not if it's a legal product? Does this not bother you? It does me. That is more government intrusion into our lives and telling us what to do. Call me on that. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Good, bad, or indifferent. Should someone in government, whether it's a mayor of a city, whether it's Obama himself or whomever, should they have the power to ban the sale of a legal product to you? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, Ramsey's. How are you? 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They unlocked the doors at 7:30 this morning, and they stay unlocked until 5 o'clock this afternoon, Monday through Friday, and they have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and I suggest you get in there today. They've got everything you're looking for, and if you are in a hurry, call ahead at 678-0459. They'll have your order waiting for you on the counter. There's nice people there at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're at 2600 Overland in Burley, and of course, that's where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Do you think the government or anyone should regulate or stop the sale of still a legal product? Give me a call on that. Once again, we also want to say thank you to Valley Wide Home and Ranch. These are some really, really good people, and they're heavily involved in the community with all kinds of community events. They put on a lot of events, and I want to stress the fact that they've really been serving all the 4-H'ers getting ready for the fair season. And I know, you go down to the fair and then all of a sudden, holy smokes, you're at the Cache County Fair and you say to yourself, I left all the brushes and the grooming material at home. Don't worry about it. Just save a lot of gas and a lot of time. Run over to Valleywide. They've got it. Plus, they've got all your fishing and equipment, licenses, everything. Local people that are serving you, the local folks, with the best of all products at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in and see the good people at Valleywide. You know, I just don't like the idea about the infringement of our rights. More things are taken away from us every single day. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Sam. This is ridiculous. You know what? What about marijuana? Now, they've made it illegal to sell in Colorado.
Yeah, excellent point.
The law says that they can do it.
That is an excellent point. I mean, the idiocy of selling a product that not only is, I think, very detrimental to one's health, but also could be detrimental to other people's health as far as on the road driving or whatever the case or scenario might be. Your point is well taken. They go ahead and pass a stupid, absolutely asinine law that it's legalizing that, and then they come out, and I'm not advocating chewing tobacco. Please understand me. I used to, years and years ago, use that product, and then all of a sudden I saw the light and I got really afraid about what it could do as far as potential cancer. I stopped. Never used anything like that again. But It's still a legal product, and I don't want the government coming in and saying I can't buy it. What are they going to do, Keith? Maybe somebody's going to say, well, I don't want you to drink Coca-Cola. Well, I don't want you to drink milk. I don't want you to eat beef. Where do you draw the line on somebody saying they can't buy a legal product?
There's many line there. It's just, you can't do it. It's just impossible to, once they get these silly laws passed like marijuana in California and Colorado, no matter how much damage it does, and it's proven, it's still a law.
Yeah, and you
can do it.
And as far as legal products are concerned, I don't care what grocery store, what convenience store you go into this morning, you are still going to find that product sold as a legal product, that they garner tax money off of the sale of that product. And how dare government, and I don't care if it's a governor, I don't care who it is, how dare they say that they are going to ban the sale of that product? I mean, you can't do that in a free society.
We can. And why don't they bring in the ACLU, the ones that are supposed to be protecting everybody?
Yeah, that's a horse of another color right there, too. Keith, God bless you for your call, as always. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you, sir. What do you folks think about that? I mean, really think about this. I know a lot of you. I know many of you in the audience are saying, good, they should stop all tobacco sales. Well, wait a minute. Think about the repercussions and the ramifications of all of a sudden you say, I'll make sure that they don't sell it. I'll make sure that we don't sell it at our store. I'll make sure that they can't buy it. Wait a minute, it's a legal product. What right do you have to stymie or stop the sale of a legal product? It goes back to personal responsibility and personal choice. Give me a call on that. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. We are home. Denny's Restaurant has been outstanding. Thomas and Terry, the whole crew, all the waitresses have been just absolutely phenomenal. So very nice and so helpful. And the food is delicious. The Lunch Butchers love it. You will too. Stop in, and whether you want breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's always delicious. And by the way, they've got another location in Twin Falls at 291 Pole Line Road. So stop into Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Very, very good. Come on, give me a call. Don't hesitate on this. I really appreciate calls, and I love visiting with you folks. So get up off the couch, give me a call, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'll be very courteous to those that think it should be banned. I want to hear your reasoning, though. And give me a call, let me know what you think. While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, I also want to remind everybody on Tuesdays, of course, we have Dr. History, and we thank again Minnecasia Sales, and that's Zach and the whole crew, always serving you at 1321 East Main Street in Burley with the best of all your remodeling needs, your lumber, the western windows, save on your heating and cooling bills. And, of course, don't forget, they've got all the Tartar Farm and Ranch gates and panels. Everything at Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Really, really nice people. All right, your thoughts. Come on, give me a call, and we'll talk about the not selling a legal product. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. Zeb, I really and truly can't see much difference in a judge doing something like that or the mayor. Look what Obama's doing. He's cutting off all of the information so we can't tell where the food's coming from, for Pete's sake.
Well, let's be real honest about this. There's a lot of fingers in the pie on the diminishment of the country of origin labeling. There's a lot of guilty people, not just Obama, and I'm pointing my finger at a lot of them. I think that you and my wife and everybody has the right to know when they go to the grocery store where that product has been processed processed, raised, how it's been handled, and who it's from. I think that we have that right because, quite frankly, Deanne and I have had a discussion on this long time ago in our marriage to buy American. And I certainly don't want to buy anything from China, Taiwan. I don't care. I don't care about supporting them. I want to support our farmers and ranchers here.
I agree with you. I was talking to my son-in-law, who is Filipino, and he said that his family over there in the Philippines, they've had an awful lot of people really sick because they're buying rice from China, and it is plastic cut up to look like rice.
Oh my goodness! Now I have no verification on this, and
other than what he said.
Yeah, I know, and boy, this is something that's very dangerous. But it does go back to the point you and I were making, Helen. I want to know who, I want to know what, and I know for a fact that our farmers and ranchers raise the most safe products in the United States under the most safe and scrutinized availability on every crop and every piece of meat, etc. And I certainly don't want to take chances on food coming in from other countries.
Well, you know, years and years and years ago, about 30 or some years, maybe even further than that, our church, our leader says, get food storage.
I understand that.
Now we might have to live on it.
I understand that, and I respect that. But I will tell you one thing. The government, and it's not just through the Obama administration, they've been kowtowing and I think making special concessions for a lot of countries to come in and bring in what they call cheaper produce, and they have done nothing to help support our agricultural program here in this United States. I don't care if somebody's offended by that. That's the way I feel. And I support American agriculture. I don't give a rip about anybody else's products on an import basis.
I don't either. And another question that I just had, you know, we were supposed to call our congressman stop funding for the abortion clinics.
Planned Parenthood.
Did it work?
Yes. I say
stop the funding?
They had not stopped the funding, and I'm going to get into that story a little bit later on this morning. Helen, I saw a video last night, another one, that it was so sickening that I couldn't watch it. I couldn't listen to it. I guess maybe they might say I'm an old softy. Well, that's fine, because it was talking about taking the entire baby and selling the entire baby, and I was raised with more ethics and morals than that, thank God for my mom and dad, and I am repulsed by anybody connected with Planned Parenthood.
Well, they said on there that it was a cadaver. Well, sure, it was a cadaver after they killed it.
It's a subject that just brings tears to my eyes, and I know it does you, but I tell you what, I am going after Planned Parenthood. I don't care about these liberal loons that live in Twin Falls, and there's plenty of them. We're going to continue going down and denigrating Planned Parenthood. Thank you very much, Helen.
Have a good day.
God bless you. I just saw that video last night, and I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. I was sitting there, and this woman talking about taking the entire body of this baby, and basically she was so proud that they were able to preserve it in its entirety so that they could sell that baby. What have we done in this country? You know, in the opening this morning, I read some remarks from Thomas Fuller. And I'm going to read them again because of what's going on in this country with the vile degradation. And he said, you cannot repent too soon because you do not know how soon it may be too late. Those are really very... those words are scary, and they're true. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. We are turning into a very barbaric society. We are turning into a very classless and very immoral society. I was really kind of interested because some calls have been coming in on my cell phone, and I know that there are those in this area that really are upset because we're going after the gay, lesbian, and transgenders. Well, let me just say this before I do a commercial break. You ain't seen nothing yet. I absolutely abhor that lifestyle and what it's doing to families and our society, and I'm going to keep fighting it. Our thanks to some of the sponsors for our Cache County Fair and Rodeo, which is coming up August 17th through the 27th, and thanks to K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Burley. They have everything you need, from air compressors to all your tractors for landscaping, lawn and garden equipment, forklifts, you name it, they've got it at K&R Rental. Call them at 678-3101. How about Rain for Rent? Another great sponsor, 134 South, 600 West of Paul. And they want you to remember they are the leading provider of liquid handling solutions, from pumps, tanks, filtration, to pipe and hoses. They've got everything you need. So you give them a call today. These are really good folks. Rain for Rent, 438-5065. And Pickett Equipment Company. Hello, Pickett Equipment Company. I know these folks very, very well. And they, of course, were the best in bean cutting equipment. Let me tell you, they really lead the industry, as they have all the time. 976 East Main Street in Burley. The number to call, 678-0855. Give Steve, good buddy, great fisherman too, a call at Pickett Equipment today. And thank you very much to all of those sponsors of the Cache County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Now give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to kind of throw this out because I absolutely watched and listened to this video. This is not about Planned Parenthood, it's something else. Do you remember back in the 60s and 70s and early 80s, a very foul-mouthed comedian, and I use the word comedian very loosely. I never thought he was funny. His name was Dick Gregory. Remember him? Well, now he's old and gray with a beard, but he was hired by our government to give a speech to the United States Census Bureau, their employees. Well, this disgusting and vile man, Dick Gregory, used that speech to rant against the police in the United States of America, and he called white police officers murderers and racists. And guess what the bottom line is on this? We, you and I, paid for this speech with our tax dollars. Every day. Every single day, you're going to find more idiocy and incompetency with this government and this Obama administration, to whom I have no respect. Give me your thoughts on this. Dick Gregory standing up at a podium and absolutely calling police officers, white police officers, racists and murderers. And we, the taxpayers, paid for that. Wow. While I'm waiting for your call that's coming in, don't forget a wonderful lady. I'm going to be seeing her on Friday morning, as a matter of fact. And that's, of course, Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. She knows hearing. She knows all about the loss of hearing and what can be done to restore your hearing. That's right. I've said this so many times. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. That's right. Do not ignore hearing loss. It's not an age problem and it's not normal. But if you're experiencing not hearing everything that your wife is saying, sometimes that might be a good thing. I don't know. But anyway, you get a hold of her today for a hearing screening, and she is right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to make an appointment with Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, 312-0957. Good morning, caller, and thank you for your call.
Good morning, Zeb. Good show already, right off the bat.
Well, thank you, sir.
A lot
with this Dick Gregory, Angela Davis was right in there, right on top of that bunch, along with Bernadette Dorn and Bill Ayers.
Yep.
So, we hear a lot about them, but Dick Gregory kind of laid into the radar, and now you've brought him up, and that's great.
When you talk about these people, and I'm trying to be as polite as possible, I've got other names that cowboys refer to those people as, but I can't say it on the air. But when you talk about Bernadette Dorn and you talk about Bill Ayers and all that, and what they did, what their plans were, what their plots were, and how they wanted to kill people for their underground movement, and today they walk in freedom, and today they can walk in the White House, and today they're accepted to teach our kids in college. What kind of an idiotic society have we got here, Gary?
I don't know. It is idiotic society, and when you said a few minutes ago that we have become classless, well, now there's nothing to obtain to just be mediocre and to be a drone, really.
I just received word, Gary, stay with us, that they're doing an alert. Stay on the phone, and it supersedes what we have done on the air. Deanne, let me know when that's over, please. Okay, we're on now? All right, we're back on. Gary, say that last little bit again. They superseded our program with another one of their real fun alerts. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. We have become a mediocre society where you mentioned a minute ago that we were now classless. And without class, there's nothing else to attain, no place to work yourself toward. And so we've become a drone society, just waiting for somebody to lead us by the nose somewhere.
Yeah, but let's talk about that just for a second. When I said classless, and I really mean this, when you let your morality, when you let your family values, when you let the church values, and you let your business ethics go completely down the drain, how can you be anything more than a classless society?
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with you totally. I just used a different word. My classless would be we have become amoral, which is an absence of morals all the way down the line. So classless, amoral, same thing.
But how do we restore it? We've got people right now on the left that are advocating the continued funding of an organization that wants to sell baby parts, Planned Parenthood. We have people on the left that want to absolutely give all the rights to a very immoral, very outrageous group of people, the gay, lesbian, and transgenders. Our society is turned into one of absolute chaos. The Boy Scouts stood for a moral majority of youth in this country. Now they are forced and coerced into accepting gay leadership and gays in their ranks against all of their great commandments that they've adhered to over the years. What is going on in this society?
Well, we're classless and amoral. There you go. We think that we have our free will, that we can handle it. We don't need religion. We don't need the Ten Commandments. We don't need anything. We don't even need the Bill of Rights, because we know better, apparently, is where they're going. And they have their own dictionary, so until they've gone through their own dictionary as to their events and the things that they want, ours has been thrown out, and I never thought I would say ours and yours in this country. And I think the only thing that I think that Mr. Trump has going for him is that no one owns him, but he is a true capitalist, shows what he can do with the American dream and what he has become, as well as a lot of others, and he loves being America. But I think someone of his ilk, is the only one that can fight the establishment, because they will do you in so fast and bring you down, you have no clue what you're going to come up with. I can't dispute it, whether it's a lie or not.
I really like the way you phrased that about Donald Trump, because quite frankly, of all these 973 GOP candidates for president, I'm being facetious, but of all of them, he is a true capitalist. He does respect what America can be as far as a very powerful economic nation. I respect that. Gary, thank you for your call this morning.
Yep, good program.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Tomorrow night, we are going to have an opportunity, and I mean this, we are going to have an opportunity to see something very, very interesting, and I think also a little entertaining. Tomorrow night at our time, approximately 7 p.m., they are going to have the 10 Republican candidates that made the cut for the first debate. And let me say that I think the word debate is completely a misnomer. I think it's not even going to be a debate. There's not going to be a real nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes standoff with the verbiage and the saliva flying all over the stage. Not really. This is going to be kind of a question-answer type thing. Debate is not really, I think, going to come into play. However, it basically boils down to one man against all the others. It's kind of like the old envisionment of what we had growing up after they made the movie The Alamo with John Wayne, standing up there and he was swinging old Betsy and everything, and all the Mexicans, trying to storm the walls of the Alamo. Well, that's kind of like what they're trying to portray with Donald Trump. One man against all the others. They're going to be coming after him. Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, Mike Huckabee, Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, Chris Christie, and John Kasich all have qualified within the top 10. And I'm going to be really frank and honest, and if I'm wrong, next week on Monday on the program, I will apologize and say, boy, was I dead wrong. I think that this whole scenario tomorrow night is going to boost Donald Trump at least another 5 percentage points in the rankings. I think that there's absolutely such a fear of Donald Trump. I think there is such a fear that if they attack him, he is going to come after them like a junkyard dog, and they will lose. I don't think there's anybody in that 10 that I just mentioned, with the exception of somebody that I think sometimes has a screw loose, and that's Rand Paul. I don't think any of them really want to get into a verbal harangue with Donald Trump, because I think he can absolutely look him in the eye with that famous Trump scowl and denounce them to the point where they want to hide behind their podium. I honestly believe that. I don't think you're going to see any attacks from Ted Cruz. I don't think you're going to see any attacks from Scott Walker. I think you may see something come from Jeb Bush, but I think that's going to be a downfall for him, and it will open up a lot of field of discussion about some of the things that Jeb Bush has done, including in the past donating money to Planned Parenthood. I've got the facts and figures right here on paper. So this debate tomorrow night, I think, is going to be really, really interesting. And it's one man against the herd, quite frankly. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are your thoughts? Come on, give me a call. Barry Equipment and Rental, they've got all the equipment. I mean, I don't know how they keep track of all their inventory. Holy smokes, they've got the big Doosan loaders, and they got all the Coyote tractors, and they've got all the Bobcats, and they've got everything you need, all the equipment you need to get any job done right. All you have to do is call them or stop in. They've got 3 excellent locations: Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and they can answer your questions. They can show you how to use the equipment before you get it back home. They absolutely the best in leasing and or purchasing right there at Barry Equipment and Rental. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. Can you tell me the difference between Planned Parenthood and the highway bill? How could they be intermingled?
Well, okay, right there is absolutely no way I can describe it. There's no way I can give a point as to why it should be tied in. But, Keith, this isn't one bill that's any different from any other. Politicians and both sides of the aisles are guilty of padding different bills with different concepts to get money for different projects. And I absolutely would like to see a bill, and I think you'll agree with me on this, a bill for the content of that bill sit down before the Congress and the Senate, and they have to vote on just that bill. But the padding and the adding of all these other highway projects or funding for this or funding for that, I think should be banned and illegal.
Well, and I'll tell you what's happened, if I've got it correct on the Fox News, is the fact that President Obama has signed a 3-month moratorium on the highway bill. Now, that means layoff of Planned Parenthood and everything else, I guess. But the thing that really concerns me is, what about these construction companies that are trying to project the projects they're going to have, and how many employees they're going to need, and weather conditions, and all these things have to be factored in. And he's just, the stroke of his pen, he is just put a 3-month moratorium on the bill.
Well, look at it this way, though, Keith, too, and I need you to speak up louder when you're talking on the phone. I know you're very soft-spoken, but I need you to speak up. But look at what's happening with his stupidity and his asinine criminality of his energy program. They're sitting there saying, well, we got to stop coal. We've got to stop all this energy. We've got to stop fracking. We've got to stop all this oil. We've got to stop this and go to green energy. Do they have any concept of how many people are going to be unemployed and absolutely desecrate our economy even worse?
Well, I think they ought to take all these people that think this is such a great idea, put them out in the middle of the desert, and give them all the cattle dung that they can burn, and see how long they survive.
Yeah, I'm in favor of that. As a matter of fact, I'd be more than happy to supply any amount of wheelbarrows full of that you need. God bless you for your call, Keith. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you watch last night the news? I'm a news junkie. I mean, I take notes on everything I see and hear. And Elizabeth Warren, oh my goodness, this woman, I mean, pull the chain and the light's not going to go on. She is not the brightest bulb in the fixture. Elizabeth Warren, a left-wing nut, and quite unfortunately, she may have a name for herself that somebody's going to try to promote her for president, if not this time, maybe in 4 years. She was defending Planned Parenthood and blames the Republicans for all the ills of what's going on right now with the doctors and the tapes and the illicit selling of body parts. My goodness, the left just doesn't get it, do they? I mean, we're talking about dead human beings here. We're talking about dead babies. And these doctors, if you want to call them that, are talking about, well, we can sell this arm, we can sell this leg, we can sell this. We're talking about a human life. How absolutely disgusting are the Democrats and the left for advocating this? Ay, ay, ay. Time for the weather. The weather brought to you by Mad River Laser. Nicole, thank you very much at 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, I went outside this morning in my T-shirt to sit on the porch for a few minutes and gather my thoughts. Well, I gathered my thoughts quickly because it was a little cool out there in a T-shirt. Yep, a sweatshirt would have been a lot better. And she can make at Mad River Laser all the sweatshirts with your name or business logo, whatever. And she's got all the best of sweatshirts from Carhartt, Bernie, Nike, Gildan, Hanes, you name it, all the goodies. And all the hoodies and the zip-up and the regular sweatshirts on sale. So stop over today at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Really, really good, folks. Here now is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast. We do have a 50% chance of rain, showers, and thunderstorms for today. High of 80, but it is going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the west right around 13 miles an hour. That's going to carry through this evening with a low right near 54. Tomorrow, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will see sunny skies. High of 84 with an overnight low of 55. And for Friday and for the weekend. Cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Chances of afternoon rain showers and thunderstorms. That's going to be throughout the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to mid-80s with lows in the mid-50s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you this hour by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see these good folks today. You know, when you think about it, 50 years ago, what would have happened if you would have turned on the news and saw a story and listened to a story about doctors just in a casual conversation over lunch, eating a salad and drinking red wine, or sitting at a desk, running their fingers through their hair, talking about baby parts being for sale, and how you had to use caution to try to preserve the entire body of a dead human being, a dead baby, to be sold. What would have happened 50 years ago? I'll venture and hazard a guess. There would have been a run on that supposed doctor's office, and they may have dragged that particular doctor out by her hair or his hair and put them in stocks in the city square. And today we are supposed to accept this kind of behavior from a group like Planned Parenthood that aborts babies that are in the womb of 13-year-old girls, and they go to Planned Parenthood and they do not notify the parents. What is the matter with this society? What is the matter with us? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office, and the number to call for an appointment to help you get back to feeling and being you, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists there, they know the exercises, they know the treatment, they've got the hydrotherapy pool, they can and will help you. Please get a hold of them today. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. And there's so many other things that we need to talk about this morning. There's another story that I'm very concerned about. And the FBI, as busy and overworked with overloaded cases that they can't take care of everything, the FBI has put out warnings today in towns that are not that far away from us. Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Greeley, Colorado. I've been to both those towns, announced rodeos in both those towns. They put a warning out that Middle Eastern men are intimidating or trying to intimidate military families living in those areas. This is not me talking. This is a report that came out on the news this morning. The FBI put out that warning and told people in those respective areas to be very, very cautious. Good heavens, it just doesn't get any better every day. We've got to be cognizant. Some people, and there was a lady here last week, stopped me and she said, I told you this story before. She said, there's just so many things to worry about. I just want to hear some good news. I just want to have all good news. Well, that'd be great. I'll get on the air and I'll say, gee whiz, everything is cream puffs and ice cream and it's just all frilly and nice. What good's that going to do? How are we going to overcome evil by hiding our heads under a big, soft, fluffy pillow? Everybody should know what's going on. Everybody should know who their adversaries are. Everybody should know who the evil people are, and we should try to stop it. A long time ago on this program, I said I'd like to go back, and I have a slogan at the end of the show that says the way things were, the way things ought to be. I would like to go back in America, and I mean this, not as a regression, but actually progression, to what the Norman Rockwell covers on the Saturday Evening Post were. They were wholesome. They were family-oriented. They showed people going to church. They showed families having dinner together. They showed dads out in the backyard playing catch with their kids. What's wrong with that? That's what we've got away from. Calls are welcome, please. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's another story that I know Jim Patrick very well. I consider him a friend, and I absolutely, I know he was one of the big gentlemen that was in push of the ag bill that would stop these absolutely nut people from coming onto your property, trying to film something that they thought wasn't right with the treatment of your livestock or something going on your farm. And Judge Windmill, U.S. District Court Judge B. Lynn Windmill, ruled that the law banning secret filming of animal abuse at agricultural facilities is unconstitutional. First of all, I want to say this. Anyone can make something look bad even though they have no clue as to how to handle livestock. And I'm fed up over my ears with people that don't know a thing about livestock, don't know a thing about raising livestock, telling people that do for a living how to handle or what should be done, and they haven't got a clue. They haven't got any idea whatsoever. But to let someone on your property and film something or do something or tape something, whatever the case might be, and then turn around and try to get your industry shut down, I find that very troubling. Now, if somebody you don't know comes onto your property, that's trespassing. That's trespassing. And I urge everybody to put up no trespassing signs on your property. If they're not your neighbors, your friends, Aunt Martha, Uncle Fred, whomever, they shouldn't be there. That's no trespassing. And it might also work out that larger operations, whether they're dairies, feedlots, hog feeding operations, whatever it might be, they may have to hire people to have golf carts and drive around their property as security, to keep the clowns off of your property. And any livestock operation or any event is vulnerable. And then think about this. It's not just a dairy. It's not just a feedlot. It may be the county fair. It may be someone putting together a team roping on their property, their own home property. It may be somebody in a cow cutting operation to where they're going to have a lot of horsemen there. It may be, I don't care what the operation or the event is, anything using livestock, these people are vulnerable for the anti-usage of animals people that are going to try to get them shut down. And I maintain the fact, and it's happened here on my place 6 years ago, where we had a carload of ladies that were driving by, and we were roping, and they stopped, and they were shooting pictures, and they were from an animal rights group in the Haley area. And in no uncertain terms, not using, of course, a lot of the language that was used at the moment, they were urged to get back in their vehicle and not come back. And this is what's going to have to happen, because the twisting and the turning and the absolute fabrication of what these people want, whether it's the Humane Society of the United States, Mercy for Animals, doesn't make any difference. They have one goal, and that's to shut down and stop any and all agricultural livestock operations and or animal usage. We have to be very, very wary. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I also want to recommend that you stop in to your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers for all your tires. You know they've got the best in tires. You know that they've got the tires for all your driving needs, whether it's your car, your pickup, your SUV, whatever. They've got all your tires. And they've got some of the very, very best of the line on sale, like the Eclipse tire, all-season traction, smooth, quiet ride for your automobiles. And don't forget, when it comes to brakes, you want to make... I saw a story in the paper the other day, as a matter of fact, about a guy that lost his brakes up on Cabbage Hill going into Pendleton. Holy buckets! Make sure you've got the best in brakes. You stop into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today. Yes, sirree, Bob. Front-end alignment, shocks and struts, of course, and the batteries, all of this, plus the best in service. And, of course, stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Yeah, I mean, the poor guy was coming off Cabbage with a load of horses, race horses, and no brakes. Made it down to the bottom, but they had to really soothe him for a while. He was sweating, and he made it safely, thank goodness, and the horses and everybody was all right. There's many, many times I've come off of that hill going into Pendleton with a loaded trailer full of horses, and I've often wondered, you see those runways for the semis and everything, oh boy, it gives you a scary feeling sometimes. You can build up a lot of speed in a hurry. We are coming back next hour with my buddy Dave Bigo, and then at 9:30 we have got an attorney on talking about a story you're not going to believe. In Seattle, they're going through your garbage, and they're going to get you. We'll tell you more about that in about 6 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, my. A little cloudy outside. Not too bad. And thunder bumpers last night went through about, 2 o'clock this morning. Boom, boom, boom. Woke me up. Good morning and welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all 7 locations here in the Valley serving you, along with some of our great advertisers. And they include Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, quality, dependability, and value, all backed by a locally owned guarantee. Western Waste Services serving you. We have been so happy with our service. Once a week they come here on Thursdays, get the garbage. It's gone. It's out of here. Locally owned, and they care. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today. 734-6969, Western Waste. Absolutely the best. Hey, by the way, my buddy's moving. Yeah, he's moving. Ted's Diesel and Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn, right there on Alfresco Road. Doug Martin packing things up and moving to better serve you. Can rebuild starters, alternators, generators, everything from lawn mowers to the big choo-choo trains. And don't forget, he also sells new. Ted's Diesel and Electric. Oh, my goodness, scare me to death. And they're moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Sometimes that little dinger that goes off on my phone with the trumpet salute and everything like to scare me to death. Anyway, thank you very much, Ted Diesel. Oh, and by the way, too, I want to say a big thank you to Joel Heward, manager of Henson Mortuary. What a nice man. And the staff and his family, they're so nice and so efficient and so helpful. And they are there when you need them, and they can travel to the rural towns and churches around the Rupert area and help you when there's the passing of a loved one and you need all the arrangements made. Just please call and they will be there. 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. A very dear friend, and I have the highest respect for him, his abilities as a businessman, etc. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you, sir?
Oh, Zeb, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Well, not too bad. You and I conversed earlier this morning, and we were talking about a problem that you had back in your area, back in Indiana, and it's a problem that could really devastate a lot of businesses that are trying to keep up on what's going on. And you said that basically you were without any email service and didn't really have anything to correct it at the time, right?
Well, yeah, we've been out without service for a few days, and they've been working on fixing it, and actually we're going to upgrade it. We're upgrading it as we fix it, so it's taking them a little bit longer, and we'll be fine. It's just, while you're doing this, you're trying to keep in touch with employees and customers and vendors and all that. And as you know, email is a big part of that today, and so we know we're missing out on stuff people are sending us.
Dave, that brings to mind a little bit of a thought here this morning that here we are in the middle of 2015, and we're talking about an energy program that Obama wants to implement before he leaves office. And this energy program would literally, in my opinion, if you think I'm wrong, jump all over this. I think it's going to put us back into a regressive state to where we go back to possibly a third world country lifestyle. There is no way we can go with a turn-on light switch for solar and wind power. There is no way it's going to be dependable. There is no way that we can stand the unemployment that this is going to cause people that are in the oil industry, people that are in the coal industry. I am absolutely scared to death about the devastating economic effects. You tell me what you think.
Well, I'm with you, Zeb, and what this president and his followers don't understand is that this just isn't possible, and it is going to destroy the economy. We're going to lose jobs. People are going to you're going to see wages drop, and these are all the effects of doing something like this. That it really isn't the problem that he talks about, because they're going after the carbon, and it's less than 2% of what's in the atmosphere, and we probably get more of pollution in that from wildfires and things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And these aren't caused because of man's pollution.
But what are we going to do? You know people back in Indiana, you know people all across the country, so do I, that are so dedicated to turning us into a caveman attitude of burning buffalo dung and not having any kind of progressive ideas. They want us to regress. What can we do to get the mindset straightened out in this country?
Well, we have to expose these people for what they are, Zeb, and I had a gentleman in my office the other day. We were talking about things like this, and these people are, they don't know how to work in a free market capitalistic society, and that's why they don't like it, and that's why they want to control everything, and controlling energy sources under the guise of climate change is just another way of controlling people and taking us to a socialistic type of society. And that's what they want. And we've got to get some politicians in that understand that we have to stop this stuff and turn this around now before we become, as you say, maybe another France or Greece.
You mentioned one word in that last paragraph that you gave me, and it was the word capitalist and capitalistic. I had a caller last hour, and he hit the nail right on the head, talking about Donald Trump and this so-called debate tomorrow night. Now, I phrased it in the first hour that is Trump against the world tomorrow night. All these other 9 that are going to be standing at podiums looking at Trump, it's basically one man Trump against them because they want to wage a holy war to get him out of any possibility of getting the GOP nomination. But he is the only real capitalist, I think, in the running for president. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, from the perspective that he's been a businessman, that's very true. And he understands it. I do think he needs to be a little more polished in his approach at times. But, he gets it. He knows we have to go in and reduce our debt. We've got to open up, close our borders, and we've got to improve our trade, free trade, and stuff like that. He gets it. He understands all that stuff, and we got to get rid of entitlement programs, and we got to get people back to work. And he understands all that stuff. But I think there's a few others that do too, like Scott Walker, we've discussed before. And in fact, I think those two would make a great President VP team.
I agree. Looking at this debate tomorrow night with Donald Trump, like I said, against Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, Mike Huckabee, Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Chris Christie and John Kasich. One name that comes out in that list that I think is going to be a flamethrower and try to cause trouble and try to disrupt the debate, if you want to call it that, will be Rand Paul. He's got nothing to lose, and he's going to try to make a name for himself. Would you agree?
Oh, I think he will, and I think I agree with you. I don't know if you can call it a debate, because these people are just going to be asked questions by the Fox News staff and that, and they're not going to really be debating each other, which is what you really like to see. And to have a true debate, you need a one-on-one situation, and this is just more of a question and answer period. And but I think Rand Paul will come out and he'll be very vocal about things to see if he can get himself moved up in the polls.
I'm going to call this the varsity debate, and then at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, the junior varsity is going to head the podiums, and they're going to have their little debate, and they include Rick Perry, Rick Santorum, Bobby Jindal, Carly Fiorina, Lindsey Graham, George Pataki, and Jim Gilmore. Now, of the junior varsity, I'm going to throw a name at you, and I think I've already told you who it is, should have been in the top 10. I like her. I like what she stands for. I like her thinking. I would love to see her get into a debate with Hillary, and that's Carly Fiorina. Tell me your thoughts.
No, I agree with you. She came into HP and did a good job of helping that turn around, and she's straightforward, she's smart, and when I look at some of the people in the varsity debate, like John Kasich, he's a good guy and he is conservative, but I even wrote a blog back a couple years about him where he let the unions run all over him. And, we got to have people that are going to be president that have strength and backbone. And when you look at some of these on the junior varsity, like Lindsey Graham and, even Rick Perry, and these other ones, Pataki and Gilmore, they don't really have the backbone we need, but Carly does.
How did these guys like Gilmore, Pataki, Lindsey Graham, there is one of the old established GOP, along with Mitch McConnell, that I would like to see somebody read them the name of the lettering on the top of the door that says exit and let them go. We have got to clean up this old school, old thinking, and we've got to shake things out of the trees, or the GOP might as well just roll over and be buried. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Told you I had a gentleman in my office yesterday. We were talking about the exact thing. That gentleman's involved in politics here in Indiana, and we were discussing almost verbatim what you just said. Is that we got all these people in there that are spineless. They won't go on the offensive because the best defense is a great offense. And what they want to do is just go along. They don't want to upset the administration, and it's easier for them to do that. And, I put Boehner in the same category with those people.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Another subject I want to talk to you about is how long before people in this country will realize Hillary is evil, Hillary is a criminal, Hillary is a liar, Hillary is a member of the Clinton power established clan that thinks they're so much above everybody else. The FBI now is going to start investigating her server. She's lied about so many things, and the money situation with the Clintons and all the emails regarding Benghazi and everything. How long before people finally say, you know what, maybe she's not presidential material?
Well, I think the Democrat Party is going to continue to push her as long as they can, because they think they can win on the woman candidacy, because she'd be the first woman president, and that's what they're going to push. But I think it's going to implode on her. I think she's just going to implode. with all this coming out. And, if the Republican Party does what they should do, they should continue to expose her and go after her and debate her on that. And I'll be surprised, really, if she gets into... she wins the primaries for the Democratic nominee.
Okay, but now also there is talk and there is behind closed doors rumblings and conversations and innuendos. The good old Joe is going to throw his hat in the ring and may take a run at Hillary for the presidential nod. Honestly, really, Joe Biden, what about that?
Well, I think my chuckle is the best part. You just don't see him having the ability to work his way through this process and quite honestly, even be able to handle it and understand it very well. And I think that would show up very quick if he threw his hat in the ring.
What about the media, Dave? I'm not seeing hardly anything in the media on other sources. I'm talking about CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, those kinds of media. Fox is the only one that I've watched that are really being, I think, critical, but yet trying to be fair with what's happening. But the others are not touching these stories about Hillary and the emails. They are not touching these stories about Elizabeth Warren standing up and giving a defense for Planned Parenthood. The media is going to play a major part in the next presidential election, and quite frankly, as jaded as they are and favoring the left, do we have a chance?
Well, I think we do, and that's the way the media is. It's kind of like me and my book and my fight against the union, Zeb. The media would never come out and really get behind my book because they're either psychologically in bed with them or they fear them. They're afraid of them, and they want to promote things that sound good out there so they can sell advertisement. Plus they're very liberal thinking, but the other side of that is I know from experience is if we have the right candidates, a Trump or a Scott Walker, people that will get out in front of the country and talk to them one-on-one, and regardless of their background, ethnic or religious or whatever, they'll find a way to get through to these people. And that's the type of people we need out there. We don't need people like Lindsey Graham and some of these others that just, they'll just say whatever they need to say to get along. And we need people that really expose what's going on with this administration and the Democratic Party.
Dave, I know that you're a very committed and devoted family man. I know you're a good Christian. I know you're just an all-around good guy and very, very strict in your morals and how you live your life. How in the world can the left, how in the world can the Democrats, how in the world, like Harry Reid, and I mentioned Elizabeth Warren, and even Hillary Clinton, how can they stand up in defense of Planned Parenthood and the vile, disgusting videos that are coming out talking about the killing of human being babies and the selling of body parts? How in the world can they stand up for something as disgusting as Planned Parenthood?
Well, I think it's basically the fact they don't have any real morals. They want to be politically correct and do whatever it takes to get them what they want. And, it's like Hillary Clinton. Would you want her running your business? Would you want her involved in your business? The answer would be no, I'm sure, because she wouldn't know what to do, just like this president. Who would really want to hire him in their business? All they want to do is throw out the rhetoric, that we got to be politically correct, social justice, we got to give people, let them do what they want to do, and they don't look at the fact that we need people with strong character and morals in this country.
Dave, has it bothered you like it has me that for a long time in the media we were listening to and trying to ascertain knowledge about the Iranian nuclear deal, and all of a sudden, like a lot of stories that are swept under the rug, Bo Bergdahl comes to mind as another story. That case hasn't gone to court yet, and the guy was picked up in California at a marijuana house, and just despicable. Does it worry you that these stories are being swept under the rug and we don't know all the principles of the Iranian nuclear deal and its design that these stories are covered up?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I experienced that when I was fighting the SEIU. what they would do is they throw all these things out there to keep people off balanced and keep them shifting from one thing to the other. And of course, if they have one thing that really was detrimental to them, they did something else to get people's attention away from that and bury the other thing. And that's what the left does. And the news media, the mainstream media, is on their side, which is unfortunate. We need people to step back in the mainstream media and say, we're going to follow up on things because we're going to do it what's right for the American people, not what's right for us.
Final thought here this morning, and I want to see if you'll sign on to my new Zeb Bell, kind of a petition to go to Major League Baseball. I am starting a movement, no more Muslim terrorist beards in baseball. I want these doggone ball players, they can have a mustache, but no more beards. What are your thoughts?
I've always been against that stuff, Zeb, and I think people ought to look professional when they go out and do their job. And so, I'm right in there with you. It's crazy, but you see it in all walks of life, and it's unfortunate.
Well, you're being kind. I just absolutely think it's disgusting for these guys the way they are now. They look like a bunch of bums out there on the baseball field, and I think they need to clean up their act. It's a great sport. There's some great teams. My Cubs are playing great baseball. Your Tigers are falling through the floor, but they need to shave their beards. Any final thoughts before I let you go today, Dave?
Well, just one other thing is, I understand there was another woman killed out in California by illegal aliens.
Yes.
And we're not hearing much about that, are we?
No, and I'll tell you something, that really bothers me. Another man, Victor Arellano Martinez Ramirez, was arrested 4 times in 2 years, and he was back out on the streets, and he brutally raped a 64-year-old California woman and then beat her to death with a hammer. All the more reason, Dave, that I think Kate's Law and other laws that are going to make it a lot tougher, and the elimination of sanctuary cities, this has got to stop.
Yeah, it does, and we got to get. This is one thing Trump's very vocal about, and he's right. Is closing the borders and making this country safer, because who knows what else is coming across the border? ISIS, other terrorist groups. And again, as I've spoke to you in the past, we got people coming across the border that are taking American jobs and driving wages down across this country. And it's time to seal our borders and get back to what we do best as a country.
Absolutely. By the way, the USA Today had a story about the NFL, the previews. At the end of the story, in case you didn't read it, my goodness, they had the Packers and the Colts playing in the Super Bowl, and of course, the green and gold prevalent as world champions. I just thought I'd throw that out to you this morning.
I think you'll be owing me some more wine here by the end of the football season.
I've already got to fly to Napa, California to buy the trees for the winery. I mean, that's how in debt I am to you.
Well, maybe you ought to just go into the wine business and buy a vineyard.
I'm whining right now. Dave, God bless you, man. Thanks for being on the program. See you next week.
All right, thanks. You guys, great week out there.
Thank you. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, the author of great books, The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, and has a great, great blog every week. Thank you very much. Don't forget the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. What is going on over there right now? Well, they started this morning with the beef show. I'm sure that's still going on. Then the swine show started, and then, let's see, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, they've got the Great Big Sheep Show. Be careful how you say that. And then, of course, tonight another performance of the PRCA Rodeo, and that goes through tomorrow night, and then Friday night the pig wrestling. That'd be a lot of fun. And the tug of war, and then on Saturday night the big monster trucks at the Jerome County Fair, lasting all this week in Jerome at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Don't you miss it. Hey, how about we give thanks to some really good folks. I mean, they are so sharp at what they do. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Now, they've got all the ATVs. Have you ever been in on that showroom floor? Holy smoke-a-rollies. They've got just all the ATVs and all the accessories. It's just jam-packed with fun. You stop over there and see it today. And all the accessories, too, like I said, they've got everything for your enjoyment. And if you need something worked on, excuse me, like my throat, be sure and attend and make an appointment at their accessory and their service department. There you go. I got it out finally. And they are the best. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. Number to call, 436-4771. You better believe that is where the fun is sold. Really good, folks. We're going to have our next guest on the program in just a few moments, but I also wanted to give another shout out to some of the great merchants that are advocating you attend the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo on August 17th through the 22nd. Here are just a few of them. Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and their new location. Man, it's a ripping good location on Kimberly Road, right by Red Cap Corner. Yes, sirree. They've got big per tower rebates from Zematic and huge discounts from Butte Irrigation to make fall the best time of the year to buy new Zematic pivots. Always remember, Butte Irrigation and their slogan is oh so true. We'll get you wet in Paul and in Kimberly by Red Cap Corner, Butte Irrigation. And also the best from Perkins and Best Western Inn, 800 North Overland in Burley. And I'm going to drool here because the food sounds so good. Skip the drive-ins and go to Perkins. My goodness, a delectable selection of your favorite foods like fresh chicken salad and a big BLT with fries and jumbo shrimp. And you got to try the famous buttermilk pancake breakfast. I love it. You will too. At Perkins and the Best Western Inn, 800 North Overland in Burley. And last but not least, Streamline Precision. These are really nice folks. At 120 South, 100 West of Burley, they can build anything, I'll tell you that. Give Tim a call to set up an appointment about anything you need built. And don't forget, Streamline Precision will build storage containers and conveyors for your factory or your warehouse that will save space and increase your storage capacity. You call Streamline Precision today at 678-9204 or Tim at 431-7314. My goodness, I'm all done with that. And right now, we're going to go to the phone lines, and we have with us a lawyer. Yes, we do. Yes, with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and I'm very honored to have him on my program this morning. Ethan Blevins is this young man's name, and he's going to talk about somebody peeking through our garbage. What's going on, Ethan?
Hi, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So I'm an attorney for Pacific Legal Foundation, and we're suing the city of Seattle for snooping through people's trash to make sure they're not throwing out too much food under the city's composting mandate that requires people to throw food in the compost bin.
All right, now wait a minute, Ethan. I got to stop you right there, because do you mean to tell me that now the city of Seattle says, hey, Zeb Bell, if you're a citizen up here in Seattle and you throw a stale Twinkie in the garbage, we're going to arrest you? Is that what it's come to?
Well, thankfully they're not arresting people yet. What they do instead is they place a tag on your garbage can telling you that you're violating the law. And then next year they're going to start fining people. So we're looking at escalating penalties as you continue to fail to throw away food in the right place.
Okay, now explain to me, Ethan. You're the man. You're the attorney. You know the law. What is the right place?
Sure. Well, so Seattle, starting last year, decided that it was going to add food and other compostable materials to its recycling requirements. And as part of that, they decided to authorize trash collectors to go hunting through people's trash to figure out whether you've thrown away too much food under the law. So we are challenging that as a violation of the Washington Constitution's right to privacy, which is more powerful than the Fourth Amendment's right against unreasonable searches and seizures. So we believe that under Washington State Court precedent, government cannot go searching through your garbage without a warrant.
Now, is this, I can't even imagine this. I mean, here you are, you're working for the city of Seattle, sanitation department, and you drive up with your truck, and then all of a sudden these two guys get out of the truck, and then they start looking through people's garbage. I mean, are they getting paid extra for this? Are they getting hazardous duty pay? I mean, my goodness, who'd want that job?
Well, it does seem like at least some trash collectors are kind of bucking at having to do it, partly because I think they feel like it is an intrusion in people's lives and they don't feel comfortable doing it. But as you say, also it adds a lot of time to their routes. So I don't know whether they're being paid more, whether Seattle residents are going to be paying additional garbage collection fees to pay for all the extra time required to enforce this law or what.
Now, these citizens, and Ethan, pardon my vagueness on this, but I just can't imagine that somebody would want to open up a bag of garbage and go, aha, there is a Tootsie Roll Pop in there. And I can't imagine that, what are their duties then as garbage collectors? Do they get on the phone and say, attention, attention, all police, alert, come over to John Smith's house, he threw a chicken bone away? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, the trash collectors are authorized to go ahead and put a tag on your garbage can, and then they mark down violators for to be fined later. So fines haven't actually started yet, but they will soon. And that's a problem in and of itself because the law doesn't provide you any way to actually challenge the trash collector's decision that you've thrown out too much food. So we believe that also violates due process rights because you have a right to a hearing when the government accused you of wrongdoing is trying to fine you.
But, here I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden, let's just say that you had something go bad in the fridge, or you had something else that you had to throw away. Aren't you paying for that service? I mean, why in the world should you be discriminated against? And what good is a garbage pickup if they're going to go through everything and try to make you a criminal?
Right. Well, the city of Seattle has a statutory duty to provide garbage collection services, and so they have an obligation to their residents not to violate the Constitution when they're going about doing that.
This is bigger, though, than just going through the garbage, isn't it, Ethan? I mean, Big Brother has got his nose over the fence and his eyes wide open and looking at and studying everything we do. I don't care if it's the garbage. I don't care if it's the drone situation. I don't care what it is. Big Brother is watching us, and quite frankly, I feel like no matter what I do, what I say, it's under scrutiny by somebody that I particularly don't care for. Would you agree with that?
I think so, and I think we don't wake up one morning and all of a sudden find out that we're living in George Orwell's 1984. It's a gradual process, step by step. One morning we wake up and another well-meaning bureaucrat is searching around to make sure we're doing the right thing according to their priorities. And so I think it's a gradual march towards an increasingly surveyed and watched over society.
Is this something that's going on in Seattle that you think as a lawyer, look out, this might get legs and go elsewhere? Is this something that might be started in other cities?
I definitely think so, and we have seen some similar composting requirements in other cities that don't have the same kind of search involved in the city of Seattle, but there's definitely similar programs in the works or being contemplated elsewhere, and I think that's why this case has been seen as an important early fight back against this kind of surveillance.
How big do you think this problem in Seattle is going to become, or is the city of Seattle, after programs like mine that are in somewhat of a joking way trying to downplay the importance of this, do you think they'll finally see the light and back off, or is this something they're going to bow their necks and make it bigger and more dangerous?
I doubt the city will back off. They've issued a press release stating that they think that they're in compliance with the state constitution because the search of garbage is supposedly minimal. They don't see it as a problem, and I doubt they're going to just back down. So we'll find out whether a court decides. If a court decides that they violated the state constitution, then the law should be invalidated, and so we're hoping for that resolved. Otherwise this sets a precedent for increasing surveillance. If they feel like they can get away with this, then we may see surveillance in other areas increase over time.
Let me ask you this question. It just hit me. Up in Seattle, do they have certain requirements or certain restrictions that if a homeowner is going to be on a garbage pickup and he pays for that service on a route service, does all the garbage have to be bagged and tied shut, or what are the restrictions on that?
There's no requirement that you bag your garbage. In fact, one of their efforts to sell the law on the people of Seattle is that supposedly they don't go tearing through opaque bags, but they'll search under bags. They'll search through open or torn bags. They'll look through clear plastic bags. So they don't require you to use particular bagging, although maybe we'll see something like that in the future.
Well, the reason I asked that question is if I were a homeowner and everything I had taken the time, the effort, and quite frankly the expense to bag up all the groceries or all the garbage and put it in bags and properly tie it and take it out to the curb, and then you get Mutt and Jeff driving a garbage truck and they come by and they open everything up, what good is the expense? What good is all the effort if they're just going to make it a case where you're guilty until we prove you innocent?
Well, that is a serious problem because you're kind of at the mercy of the off-the-cuff estimate of a trash collector who's operating on behalf of the government and gets to decide whether you have thrown out too much food or not. Under this rule, if more than 10% of your garbage is made up of food and other recyclable materials, then you violated the law. So somehow these trash collectors are supposed to make this good faith judgment that you have reached this 10% threshold. I'm highly skeptical that a trash collector who is already in a hurry is going to be able to make an accurate estimate. So that means that you're just at their mercy. You have no way of challenging their decision that you violated the law, and their surveillance of your trash is outright unconstitutional.
I see this as an opportunity for trash collectors. If they really wanted to get on the black market, they could knock on the door and say, hey, listen, I found a bread crust and I also found an old Oscar Mayer wiener in your garbage, and if you don't slip me $25, I'm going to turn you in. Holy smokes, all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of corruption with the trash pickup people.
Well, one of the reasons we have a right to privacy is to prevent the people in power from abusing their authority. So certainly that's a concern. Thankfully here the fines right now are fairly small, but that doesn't mean that we don't have a right to prevent people from searching through our stuff, whatever their motives might be.
Wow. I'll tell you what, when I looked at this story, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And Ethan, I appreciate it. Ethan Blevins, attorney with Pacific Legal Foundation. Any final thoughts on this case before I let you go?
Well, again, I think the key message here is that well-meaning bureaucrats often think that their good intentions somehow override constitutional limitations, and it's important that we fight against that, even on things that might seem like small matters like this. Any constitutional violation is not a small matter, and so it's important that we put up a fight when bureaucrats overreach their authority.
Absolutely. Ethan, stay on top of it. You're a good man. Come back in the future, would you please?
Indeed, I will. Thanks very much.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, Ethan Blevins. Honestly, when I saw this story come across my desk, I thought, you got to be kidding me. But the city of Seattle is telling the trash pickup people, you go through their garbage, and if we find food, we're going to nail them. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with an old loaf of bread that's all moldy? What are you going to do with maybe some yogurt that went, bad south? What are you going to do with all that stuff? And if they find it in your trash, then you're going to get fined. There has got to be a better way. There has got to be the lack of privacy or the loss of privacy in our lives is absolutely, it's ridiculous. It's just like he said, the George Orwellian attitude. There's a lot of things that we throw away in our trash, and now we got to be more careful. You know, you got to be so careful about identity theft, and boy, I don't throw anything in the garbage that's going to give anybody a clue as to where I bank, what I do, numbers, anything. No, I go burn those, and if somebody doesn't like my burning it, that's their problem, not mine. I'm not going to take any risk anywhere, anytime. But now to go through the garbage, your garbage in Seattle, and if you've got a bread crust or an old pork chop bone, you're up for a fine? Please. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We better get the weather on here real quick. And the weather brought to you by one of my favorite places to go, Duck Uglies. It's good. It's good. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And I'm telling you, if you want a great meal and great service, and as a plus also to that, great entertainment, you go to Duck Uglies. Friday nights, they got that ribeye steak special with shrimp. Oh, it's good. Saturday night, the ribs are in town at Duck Uglies. You're going to love it. And always nice people. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast. We do have a 50% chance of rain, showers, and thunderstorms for today. High of 80, but it is going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the west right around 13 miles an hour. That's going to carry through this evening with a low right near 54. Tomorrow, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will see sunny skies. High of 84 with an overnight low of 55. And for Friday and for the weekend, cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Chances of afternoon rain, showers, and thunderstorms. That's going to be throughout the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to mid-80s with lows in the mid-50s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Yes, sirree. Thank you, Gina. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Great place to eat and great entertainment. What do you think about all this stuff going on? Come on. I mean, you must be as upset about it as I. Think about this for just a second. You pull up to a stop sign, and they've got cameras watching you. You throw a breadcrumb in your garbage, and they've got people that are going to turn you in. They are listening to your phone calls. They are reading your emails. They know everything about you. Doesn't that bother you? There is no privacy left. Somebody please call me and tell me where or if there is a last bastion of privacy. What is it? What can you do that nobody's going to find out? It's your little secret. I can't think of anything. I mean, they know all about us. They can zero in on us while we're sitting in the backyard and having a nice afternoon picnic meal. Aha! There's Zeb and Deanne. They're in their backyard eating. And what they're eating. They can listen to anything and everything. They've got drones that can hide like bugs in trees. Tell me, what privacy do we have left? Somebody call me, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's not very comforting to know that I've got so many people, maybe even in my bathroom. Holy smokes, that's ugly. All right, now let's see what else have we got here. while I'm waiting for your phone call that I hope is coming in, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, these are good folks, really good folks, dedicated and responsive to your needs, accessible and devoted. Yep, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all this and more, and great service to you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call for an appointment is 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. You be sure and get a hold of them today. All right, nobody has any privacy concerns? My goodness sakes, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm worried about, you go to the store and they want to kind of survey what you're eating. Michelle Obama, there was a lot of rumor about, we've got to cut down on this, cut down on that. We might even have grocery police at the checkout line. Well, you're a little bit heavy there, Zeb. You better not buy that. You better take it back and get something else. Our privacy, they know what we wear. They know all of our purchases. They know all about our gasoline purchases. They know everything. Kind of spooky, isn't it? What can we hide? What do they not know that we can elaborate on and sit behind closed doors and go, tee, tee? They don't know this. What? Give me a call. While I'm waiting again, I want to remind you that just in a matter of days, there's going to be a celebration of the great big Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. That's right, the Cassia County Fair, August 17th through the 22nd. And they're going to have Dan and Shay in concert. And that's going to be on Saturday, August 15th. And you need to get your tickets now. Call the fair office and find out more about the great seat selection for this great big concert. Absolutely. Number to call, 678-9150. And Dan and Shay will be in concert Saturday, August 15th, starting at 7:30 with the gates open. Concert starts at 8 p.m. Ticket prices are $15 and $20 at the Cassia County Fair for their concert on the 15th. All right, your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are your thoughts on this? Prying into our garbage and fining people. And I was reading here, and he alluded to this a little bit. Ethan alluded to this, that garbage collectors in Seattle now are taking a school. They're being sent to a school to train them how to poke around in your waste bin and then how to figure out. Now, this is an equation here. Listen to this. They've got a formula. Garbage collectors are trained to poke around in your waste bin, says the story, to figure out the volume of taboo trash. A calculation of X. Now, I'm not making this up. I'm reading this right here off this letter. A calculation of X equals PR2H divided by 10. This is as nuts as it gets. Seriously, these garbage collectors have an equation, a formula, to figure out how much garbage is in your trash that is food. X equals PR2H divided by 10. And what's worse yet is that if you get a ticket and they fine you, you can't challenge a trash collector because they say that his off-the-cuff estimate is exactly right and that you violated the law. Can you believe this? X equals PR2H divided by 10. Wow. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is unbelievable to me. I never thought I'd see the day that we had trash collectors sitting there with a calculator, putting in the formula, and then saying, aha, they get a fine. Give me a jingle on that. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to ask Wheels. Wheels. Oh, we got a caller. All right, call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir. Have you?
This might sound crazy, but with this story, I've got to sit back and, are you actually really surprised with the way things are going? It does not surprise me that they're doing this. They're doing everything they can to control every aspect of our life, and the common man's just sitting back and doing nothing about it. It doesn't surprise me that they're coming at every single angle.
No, it doesn't surprise me, but honestly, having trash collectors figure out an equation and using a computer while they're picking up your garbage of X equals PR2H divided by 10, aha, there's a breadcrumb in there plus a Tootsie Roll Pop and we're going to nail this guy. This is absolutely insane.
Absolutely, and what I want to know is it the trash companies that are engaging in this school, is it their dollar that's paying for the education, or is it the tax dollars that are going to it? That's what I'd like to know.
I would bet, and that's a very good question, I would bet you a lunch at Zeb's Lunch Bunch that this is all passed back on to the consumer for the extra time, the extra labor, the extra schooling, buying the calculators. This has all got to be passed back to the consumer for that trash collection, and yet they're paying for a service that is treating them as a criminal and just waiting to pounce on them.
Right. It's just everybody sitting back, and it's like I walk her.
Well, let me ask you, can you think of, and you're a sharp guy, can you think of any aspect of your life that right now today is not scrutinized? And I guess he's gone. I hate to have him leave. I guess he's said goodbye and I didn't hear him. I apologize for that. I would like somebody to call me real quick and tell me, think of what you do. Think of where you go. Think of your hobbies. Think of your job. Think of everything. Is there any aspect of your life that is still secretive and private? That's the key word, private. That really is nobody else's business. Okay, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got a really interesting couple of guests coming up this next hour, and one is a local call, and we're going to be talking about the Caring Cowboys. This is a really good event that's going to be on April 16th over at the Jerome County Fairgrounds, and it's the Idaho Beef Industry United Against Hunger, and we're going to have Timmy Likely from Jerome. Very, very nice lady, and she's going to be on the program with us at 10:06. And then at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have another good lady. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Caller, you have the floor. You're on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, I happen to have a CDL and run across the road. And you think they look at your life. When I go across the ports in Oregon, they take my picture. If I'm loaded, empty. When I pull into that port, they know where I bought my fuel at last.
They know everything about everything you do, don't they?
Yep.
Does that ever give you pause for concern? Does it ever make you mad? Does it ever make you feel like the Orwellian book of they've got their eye on you 24/7, 365?
Well, and then you got employers that won't fight it.
That's true. That's true.
I got a warning ticket over in Nevada. He said I was speeding climbing a hill with a load on.
Yeah. And what did you...
And well, it was just a warning, but under the CDL rules, I still get points on my record, even though it was just a warning.
Oh, my goodness. So you, of anybody, and you're a perfect example, over-the-road truck drivers, absolutely, their lives, your life, is scrutinized 24/7. I don't know if I can handle it. I know you're really going through some tough times with all the paperwork and all the scrutiny. I don't know. I don't have the personality to handle it.
Well, I was in Chicago in road construction. White lines going down the road, do not be moving in and out of traffic. Two ladies moved in front of me and everything came to a stop. I was loaded and I ran into them. And the cops sided with them. If they're back in Chicago, how am I supposed to have the money and the time to go fight it?
Yeah, I understand. Sir, I do appreciate and respect what you do. Thank you so much for your call. I got to run to the news. I don't mean to cut it short. Thank you very much. God bless you. We're going to be back in about 6 minutes with more Zeb at the Ranch and more of what's going on in this old world. You stay tuned. Oh, my. Here we go, hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch, and good morning to you. I'm Zeb Bell with our number one numero uno sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, call them at 734-6969, and Valleywide Home and Ranch, everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Valleywide Home and Ranch. Oh, by the way, Ted's Diesel and Electric is moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Yep, old Doug's boxing everything up and saying, yep, we're moving. Come on over to 635 21st Street in Heyburn. He can rebuild your starters, alternators, generators, everything from lawnmowers to locomotives, and he sells brand new, too. As I get another trumpet blast in the background, Ted's Diesel and Electric moving to 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Right now, I want to quickly get the Chadwick Sports Grill special menu in for today, and this is going to be a good one. Lemon chicken shish kebabs, served with veggies and a choice of side super salad. Shish kebabs, lemon chicken shish kebabs at the, I love saying that, I'm sorry, the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley, along with all the other great menu choices, and the special today, got to do it one more time, lemon chicken shish kebabs. There you go at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Let's see what else have I got cooking here real quick. I think we're all set to go and get this lovely lady on the phone. And we have with us a barrel racer extraordinaire and also a great event coordinator of the 4th annual Carrying Cowboys. This is Timmy Likely. Hello, Timmy. How are you?
Hi, Zeb. I'm doing great, thanks.
Well, now tell us a little bit about barrel racing before we start. It's not all safe and sanity. There's some dangers involved. You're kind of on the mend from an accident at Lehi, Utah, aren't you?
I am. I had a horse fall with me while I was running barrels, and I tore my ACL and had to have that replaced, and so I am now on the mend after surgery. So
I wish you would have called. I wish you would have called, Timmy, because I was running a July special, and it was $49, and I'll teach you how to walk on crutches across mud and ice and cattle guards.
I could have used that.
Okay. Listen, tell us a little bit about barrel racing. I want to compliment you for all the years that I've announced rodeos where you've been barrel racing. You've won some fairly big, prestigious rodeos. Tell us about some of them.
Well, I've been pretty fortunate to have some nice horses that I've ridden, and I've been able to compete in the wilderness circuit, and then I do travel outside of the circuit to some rodeos, and Reno Rodeo was one that I've won, and I've won money at Cheyenne and Cody, Wyoming, and Greeley and Prescott. I've been able to go and compete at Houston and some of those big rodeos like that. So I've been very fortunate and had a lot of fun. I got to ask you, first of all, when I've talked to a lot of guys that have won the buckles at Reno, and that's kind of a special rodeo to win, isn't it? I think it is. It was one of the first really big wins that I've had, and it was pretty exciting. They whisk you right into the arena for the awards, and you get these beautiful spurs, and then you get to go and do all these fun interviews, and it was just really special and very exciting.
What was your feeling like the first time that you headed your horse down the runway at Houston?
Probably pretty scared. It's so huge, and there's so many people there. It's unbelievable. and it was very exciting. I just loved the experience and getting to go there and compete, and I hope to get to do that again someday.
Now, you're on the mend from that accident, and we're going to talk about the Carrying Cowboys in just a minute, but you're a great example of a barrel racer and a lot of young cowgirls looking up to you. What does it take to find a really good, trusting barrel racing horse? I bet they're not easy to find one.
You know, they're not. I think that those horses that compete at that level are very special athletes, and it takes years sometimes to find that one that fits you and is that caliber of horse. But they're out there. It seems to be, with all the 4D barrel racing that we have now, there's getting to be more and more really high caliber horses, and it's really fun anymore to go watch the rodeos because, gosh, there's just wonderful, amazing horse athletes.
Absolutely. How long before the doctors are going to say, okay, you can saddle a horse and get back to action?
Well, I've been sneaking in a few rides here and there, just walking, but I can't stand to just, sit in the house. You know exactly how that is.
Yeah, I sure do.
So probably this fall, though, sometime before I'm actually able to compete again.
All right. Now, that gives you time right now to kind of sit by the computer and get everything organized for the 4th annual Carrying Cowboys Beef Counts Open Calf Roping. This is a fantastic idea. Tell us a little bit about the origination of this event.
Well, I've always wanted to put on a really good quality calf roping in our area. There's so many of them down in Oklahoma and Texas. But our calf ropers up here have very few opportunities to go and compete for that kind of money unless it's at a rodeo. And so we got together with some friends of ours, and we put together the Carrying Cowboys organization and decided to make it a charity event. And we just ran with it, and we're hoping to just keep growing it and making it bigger and better every year.
Timmy, I'm absolutely impressed. You've got some good added money, of which I want you to talk about in just a moment, but also the caliber of top professional calf ropers coming in. I mean, they're coming from all over all 4 points of the compass, aren't they?
They are. We have 10,000 added this year in our open calf roping, which makes it just a great stop-off for those cowboys that are in our area already to come and compete for some good money to help them keep going down the road. And we've got some of the top cowboys in the industry, Tyson Dursey, Jake Hannum, Clint Robinson, Ryan Jarrett. We have so many that have been to the NFR coming and past world champions, so it's exciting.
Well, now, how do you run the format in the Open? Is it a one-header, one shot, or is there an average?
We have, everybody gets 3 head, and then we bring the top 12 back for the short round.
Okay. And that's in the Open. That's going to start at what, about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, we start with a cowboy auction at 3 o'clock, which is so fun for the spectators to get involved. They're able to purchase a cowboy and kind of own them throughout the roping, and it just gets them very involved, and it's fun. And then the actual roping starts at 4.
All right, but now earlier that morning on Sunday the 16th, there's going to be a junior calf roping. Explain to me who's going to be eligible for that.
Yes, this is the second year that we started having a junior roping, and we're very excited about it to give these young kids an opportunity to come and compete at some good added money that they don't get that opportunity to do at that age, and then also to stay and watch some of their idols rope in the Open. So that's pretty exciting. We have 3 categories, 12 and under, 13 to 15, and then the 16 to 18 age group.
All right. Now, that's going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning, followed at 3 with the auction, and then the big average roping with the top touring professionals, right?
Yes.
And that'll be on the 16th. Now, what is the purpose of having this event? What is the industry that's going to benefit and the charity that's going to benefit from this event?
Well, we have decided to get together with Beef Counts, which is an organization that provides beef to the Idaho Food Bank, and they get this through live donations and cash donations. And we chose this organization because they do give all of the proceeds that they get in beef products to the Idaho Food Bank. And then it's also matched by AgriBeef at 50%. So you're just doubling everything that you're giving to this organization again. And so it makes it really nice for us to give to an organization that gives so much back.
You know, now, is there an admission charge? Do people have to worry about tickets? Tell us a little bit about the format.
We try to make it really easy for people to come. We would ask that you either give a donation, a cash donation at the gate, or to bring canned food items that would help. Also, we can give those to the Idaho Food Bank as well.
All right. I'm telling you, this sounds like a super, super event. I know my neighbor, I just talked to him the other day, Garrett Mussman's going to be in the junior division in the morning. And how did you go about promoting this to some of the top touring pros? I bet you for that kind of money added, $10,000, you didn't have to do a whole lot of arm twisting, did you?
No, we don't. It seems like if they're going to be in this area, they're very excited to come. We provide a great roping for them, really good cattle. That's one of the things that we were sticklers about, that we had fresh, good cattle. That makes it exciting for the spectators, but a really good roping for the ropers, too. And plus all that added money, they can't hardly say no.
You know, is there going to be a time and a place, and I know this is off the cuff here, but is there going to be a time and a place for some of the real rodeo fans that maybe would like to visit a little bit with like Shane Hanchey and Jake Hannum and some of the others, just to kind of get to know them a little bit? Is there going to be any time for that?
You know, our cowboys at this roping have always been super approachable. So while they're there, they're very good about anybody that comes up to them and wants to visit, wants to get autographs, things like that. They've just been awesome. And not only that, but several of them have stepped forward each year and given items to put into our silent and live auction.
Oh, my goodness. Talk a little bit about that auction. What about the different material that you need for that? Are you still looking for different items?
We would love to get anything we can for that. It's a huge part of what we make to give to Beef Count. And so right now we've got some wonderful things like a barbecue grill from Intermountain Gas, a half of a pig. We have items from some of the major salons in the Twin Falls area. We have things from some of the local vets have put together packages. We just have some really great items in our auction. And, of course, some of those cowboys, again, will be putting together some things to put into that also.
Boy, it is a full day of great calf roping. And the 4th annual Caring Cowboys Beef Counts Open Calf Roping proceeded in the morning at 9 a.m. with the junior calf roping. The open starts at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, of course, this all goes to fight against hunger. Right, Timmy?
It does, and we're super excited about having all these guys come in and help us put together a wonderful event for the spectators, and then also, again, to put together a great amount of money to give to Beef Count.
All right, well, you can count. I'm going to be there watching. It sounds like a really great, fun event, and that, again, is going to be on the 16th of August. The 4th annual Caring Cowboys Beef Counts Open Calf Roping, as I said, preceded by the juniors. Timmy, heal up fast. Get back to barrel racing, and thanks for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. I really appreciate it.
All right, you take care. Thank you much. Rodeo family and a very, very nice lady right there, Timmy Likely over in Jerome. And wow, I mean, if you like roping, and whether it's team roping, whether it's calf roping, wow. I mean, this is going to be a full day of calf roping. One of my great friends in the rodeo industry that's passed away now, but I just absolutely loved to listen to him tell stories, and that was Clem McSpadden. I had a chance to work with Clem McSpadden Alex Badden out of Oklahoma many, many times. I sat up there in the announcer stand with him, and we co-announced a lot of events, and he put on a pasture roping back at Bushy Head, Oklahoma, and it got world famous. And this event over in Jerome is going to be just as great because it's a full day with the 9 o'clock in the morning junior calf roping, and then, of course, that great big open calf roping about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Where else could you go and watch in an average roping on 3 the best in the world coming into Jerome, and a lot of added money too, $10,000 added along with their entry fees. Whew, it's going to pay like a slot machine. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. We've got about 8 minutes left in this segment, and whatever you want to talk about. It's open to the world. Give me a call. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I also want to remind you about some of the merchants for the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo that urge you to come on down to Cassia County and enjoy the fair. And they include the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, 230 West 7th Street in Burley. I love their ad. Get a room with us and leave the relatives to use their own bathroom. That's right. Fantastic rooms, great breakfast, huge pool, hot tubs, anything right there for you at the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott. And the number to call for reservations, 677-5000. Along with Easy Money Auto and Easy Money RV and Repair at 200 Overland and Burley. These are really good folks. And they have a great selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, RVs. They always say, why don't you come on in? They'd love to give you an opportunity to get into your new used car today at Easy Money Auto RV and Repair, 200 Overland in Burley. And last but not least, a big shout out and thank you to Kelly's Bearing Supply at 1407 East Main Street in Burley. Number to call, 678-9398. And they always say you'll know where you are when you get your bearings at Kelly's. I love that. They've got all the bearings. They've got everything, the chains, the brackets, everything. Zach and Brett right there at Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few of the great merchants advocating that you come on down to the Cassia County Fair August 17th through the 22nd. All right, give me a call. Talk about anything right now that you wish to visit about from some of the topics that we've already elaborated on this morning. I'd love to hear from you. Had a call during the news break about we were talking earlier this morning about the mayor of Boston is trying to work out a deal to ban all sales of smokeless tobacco in the city of Boston. And I said earlier this morning, and I had some people comment it, and they called again during the news, this is still a legal product. And where are we going to draw the line? If the mayor of Boston doesn't like smokeless tobacco, he doesn't like the sales of it, and he bans it, where's the line going to be drawn? Could it be on Hostess Twinkies? Could it be a ban on Diet Coke? Could it be a ban on some kind of cherry pie? I mean, the list is limitless. Once you open that Pandora's box of allowing government and government officials to ban the sale of a legal product, look out. Look out. Give me your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to correct something that I said yesterday because I made a mistake, plain and simple. I mentioned that my dear friend Dave Zanino was not going to have a team roping in Jerome this week as part of the weekly series. They are not. I mentioned that they are going up to Cary, up to the fairgrounds in Cary. That is true, but I said they were going to do it tonight. No, it's not true. That's wrong. I talked to Dave yesterday, and for the ropers that want to go on up to Cary tomorrow night, they're going to be roping tomorrow night at Cary for part of the series. It starts with registration at 6:30, rope at 7. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Well, how art thou?
Well, I'm doing good.
Okay.
Enjoying the sunshine. But this banning tobacco, I used to do it. I quit 30 years ago. You know, so I don't understand how people like it, but I did, and I'm the worst critic on it when somebody's smoking around me. But let's put the shoe on another foot. What happens if we start banning chocolate because of obesity?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Or let's start banning beer because of alcoholism. Or maybe we ban cars because of people using them in vehicular homicides.
You know, Doug, that's why I said a moment ago we're on really shaky turf right there. Who is going to discern who can buy a product? I mean, it might be tobacco in one city. It might be a gallon of milk in another. And we're opening up a Pandora's box because tobacco still is a legal product.
Exactly, and the government subsidizes the tobacco farmers because tobacco's down and they're not making money like they used to.
Yep, exactly right.
So, but one thing about the government and what's happening and what's going on is just liken it to a snowball that you start rolling. So you're making a snowman, you start rolling, and you start getting on a little bit of a hill, and it starts rolling. And it gets bigger and bigger, and as it gets bigger and bigger, more weight, and it gets going faster and faster. And that's where we're at. That snowball's coming down that hill at a pretty good pace. It's going to explode.
Yeah, but Doug, did you ever, honestly, in all your dreams as a business owner, did you ever think that you would hear the story I had last half hour about garbage collectors are being trained to poke through your garbage and with a calculator estimate with this equation, X equals PR2H divided by 10, how much food they are going to say is in your trash illegally and then fine you?
No. I mean, shoot. I'm trying. My mind just went blank again.
Well, yeah, but this is America. Name one thing, Doug. Name one thing, and you're a business owner. Name one thing that they, being Big Brother, does not know about you or is listening to or is observing. I can't think of anything. They've got their fingers on us 24/7.
They do. They even know when you go to the bathroom because your meter reads the water, how much water you pump and when you pump it.
I'm sure glad you brought that up, Doug.
I mean, they know everything.
Yeah.
Just think about it.
And it's not going to get any better, is it?
Well, it will. It will get better if more people, if good people start standing up to fight evil, then it will get better. But good people got to stand up to defeat evil. If you don't stand up to defeat evil, it's not going to be defeated.
I could not agree more, but I'll tell you something, like I mentioned last hour, the pulling up to a stop sign, you've got cameras peering into your car, whether it's your garbage, whether it's the listening of our phone calls, whether it's the reading of our emails, they know everything that's going on, and I, for one, am sick of it.
Well, I am too, and it's, like I say, it's people's going to have to stand up. We're going to have to tell our elected officials, hey, you work for us. You don't do what we put you back there to do. Go find you another job. We'll put someone else back there.
And I'm starting to really advocate term limits and throw the bums out.
And also, they need to live under regulations they impose on us.
Amen. Amen, Doug. God bless you for your call. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you much. We'll have more in just a few moments. We're going to send this back over to our main studios right now for a break at the hour. And then we're going to come back, and we have a lady by the name of Jillian, I apologize for that, Jillian Melchior. And she's going to be talking all about this idiocy and total incompetency of Obama's green energy program. Don't miss it. It's going to be really good. I'll be back in just a few minutes.
And now, Now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh my, all this week, the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo is going on, and you don't want to miss a minute of it. What's on the menu for tomorrow? They're going to have a great big swine show tomorrow morning, and then, of course, they're going to have the commercial and food booths open. I love those food booths. And then, of course, they've got, at 2 o'clock tomorrow, they got the Pygmy Goat Show. Yeah! And then tomorrow night, of course, the next edition of the PRCA Rodeo. All of this and much, much more at your Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. Don't you miss it at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Lots of fun. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and I hope I get this title correct, and I'm going to have her explain it to us a little bit. We have with us Franklin Center's Thomas L. Rhodes Fellow, Jillian Melchior, and we're going to be talking about what I said is the idiocy and absolute lunacy of the Obama administration with their Clean Power Plan. Good morning, Jillian. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a treat on my part. Now, listen, explain a little bit about that title, Franklin Center's Thomas L. Rhodes Fellow. Boy, that's a mouthful. What does that all mean?
It is, and it's actually an even bigger mouthful. So I write for National Review, and I'm also affiliated with the Franklin Center through their Thomas L. Rhodes Fellowship, and with the Steamboat Institute, and with Independent Women's Forum, where I cover energy and environmental issues. So a fun intersection of people that care about getting through that.
All right, Deanne, would you go in the other room and take a listen to the radio on that? Thank you very much. Jillian, let me start off with saying I am not a fan at all, never will be, of Obama's green energy plan. I think it's going to absolutely disrupt our economy. I think it's going to take a lot of people out of work. I think it's going to be a great asset for our enemies. It's going to turn us into a third world country. The list goes on and on. Do you agree with me on all those that I mentioned?
Well, I'm not sure about a third world country, but I do want to point out the Clean Power Plan is enormously expensive. We're talking compliance costs estimated as high as $479 billion. That's nearly $500 billion. And it's been marketed to us on two promises. The first is that it's going to take a major bite out of climate change, and the second being that it's going to help us in our diplomacy, that it's going to allow us to get developing countries to do something meaningful. But when I looked into both of these claims, it turns out neither of them are true.
Are you still there, or did we lose you?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. I was going to jump in. I'm having a little hard time hearing you. You must be on a cell phone this morning, and it's getting a little fuzzy at times. But
I am sorry.
That's all right. Just hold it really still, and hopefully we can get through the interview without having anything go wrong. But as far as the green energy, it's not working. For all the investment that we've had, whether it's solar or wind, we have lost money. They haven't even regained and recouped even half of the investment value of what it costs. Why? Why is this administration so hell-bent on trying to put more into this green energy program and take more out of our pockets?
You know, I think the Obama administration views this as a signature policy, as something that can contribute to his legacy. But it's not actually that effective. If you look at the Clean Power Plan, the United States is responsible for just 5% of all of the carbon emissions in the world. That basically means that if we stopped emitting all of our carbon emissions right now and quit it forever, then the only potential for us to reduce emissions would be about 0.15 degrees Celsius. That is a tiny amount. We're not even going that far. You know, power plants account for about a third of all U.S. CO2 emissions. We're saying that they need to go down 32% by 2030 from 2005 levels. So what's the impact on climate? Well, using the EPA's own climate model emulator, a couple of guys at Cato crunched the numbers and found out that the effect on climate, get ready for this, it's less than 2/100th of 1 degree Celsius by 2100. That's an amount so small that you would have to have extremely specialized scientific equipment to even be able to chart it. So the effect on climate it's negligible. It would almost be more statistically accurate to say that there is no impact whatsoever.
Jillian,
yet this is something that's going to result in double-digit rate increases in 42 states. It's going to have compliance costs of up to $479 billion. The EPA, which chronically lowballs cost estimates, has said that, it's more expensive than all of the Clean Air Act rules promulgated by 2010 combined. So we're talking enormous economic costs for 0.02 of 1 degree Celsius by 2100. This is a terrible bang for your buck.
Okay, now I'm going to come right out and say I've never believed in climate change. I have said, thanks to another listener on my program called in one time and said, God's got his hand on the thermostat, not man. I've never believed in climate change. I've talked to many scientists of many universities across the United States, and I've talked to various people that are involved in meteorological studies, and they don't believe in climate change either. As a matter of fact, they said for the last 15 to 18 years, we've been going into a cooling cycle. Why? Why does the government want to do this to us? And I said it's all about control. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's about control and it's about a worldview. But if you I think if we take this one step further, let's look at a place where there is actually a significant impact on the environment, China. And I know this firsthand because I lived there. Like, you can stand on the street and the pollution is so bad sometimes you can't see across the street or see the tops of buildings. So, maybe there's a case for doing something there. But Clean Power Plan doesn't accomplish it, despite what the Obama administration claims. In November, we announced a U.S.-China climate pact that was entirely contingent on the Clean Power Plan. The Obama administration marketed this as something that was historical, of great consequence in the fight against climate change. But again, the devil's in the details. This is entirely one-sided. The U.S. is saying that it is going to scale back carbon emissions from power plants by 32% at enormous economic cost over the next 15 years. What does China agree to in exchange? It's not even going to think about cutting carbon emissions until at least 2030. It says that it's going to stop increasing carbon emissions by 2030, which is a slanted way of saying we're going to allow them to grow for another 50
Oh, my.
years. So the U.S. is saying, wow, this is a great deal. I'm not seeing it.
Jillian, stand by. We've got a caller with a question, and if you can't hear it, let me know and I'll paraphrase it for you. Caller, quickly go ahead, please.
Yes, Deb. I'm kind of wondering if she's hearing anything about sustainable population growth in order to kind of keep our power consumption at a level that's sustainable.
Okay, I'll have her respond to that. And caller, I do appreciate that question. Thank you very much. Jillian, did you hear that?
I did hear it. So it was a question about sustainable population.
Yes.
To keep our energy consumption in check. And I think what I'll say about this, you can trace this idea all the way back to Malthus. There have been a lot of really alarmist claims about, the U.S. doesn't have enough resources or the world doesn't have enough resources to sustain its population. Historically, none of these have proven true. I happen to think that the Earth's greatest resource is its people. And these predictions just have not borne out. People have become more inventive, have found ways to do things. So I'm pretty skeptical of that line of thought.
Jillian, I need to back this thing up in our conversation right now and just kind of look at it from the point of view of your expertise and what it's going to do to cost consumers and hurt people that are on fixed incomes, hurt the retirees. I mean, what is this going to do financially? Break it down and tell me what a family of four is going to be looking at financially, what retirees are going to be looking at as far as taking out of their savings for retirement. I see this as a very big threat to our economy and also us trying to remain the power of the world. I just think it's going to reduce us in quality all around the globe. Am I wrong?
I think you're right on this. So if we're looking, I think the best study that's come out so far looking at the costs for individual households was done by National Economic Research Associates. It says that, in 43 states, we're going to see double-digit price hikes on utility bills.
Oh, my.
This runs directly contrary to the Obama administration's claim that somehow, in some unspecified way, this policy is going to let Americans save $85 a year on the utility bills. I'm not buying it, looking at the numbers. National Economic Research Associates really crunched these numbers and isn't buying it. It sees huge electricity bill price hikes. And that's because, this creates a false demand for more expensive energy resources. Right now, we have poured billions of dollars in subsidies into supporting wind, into supporting solar. Despite this huge government largesse, it only accounts for about 10% of all U.S. energy consumption. That's not a great deal. And I think what's really unfortunate about this and has not gotten enough publicity is that non-white families, minority families, are going to especially suffer from price increases. And that's because if you look at their budget, if you look at the breakdown of it, they end up spending a larger portion of their limited income every single month on utilities. So as utility prices spike, as they go up to double digits, that's going to affect them the most. That's them not having much money to work with to begin with and being asked to sacrifice a lot more to pay a lot more, all to chase this pie-in-the-sky idea that is going to have a negligible impact on climate change.
Okay, Jillian.
2/100 of 1 degree Celsius.
Okay, Jillian, you're on top of this. You know what's going on. You know what's being said behind closed doors. You know what this administration is going to try to perpetrate. You know that Obama's going to plan to sell this and all of his other wacky climate change ideas over the next couple of months at some really high-profile events. But what can we do to stop him? What can we do to thwart this man? What can we do to stop the idiocy of the EPA and Gina McCarthy? What can we do?
Well, first of all, I want to point out that this is a divisive issue, not only within the Republican camp, but within the Democratic one. There's been a lot of pushback, particularly in manufacturing states, from labor unions that are a key Democratic constituency on this climate action because they know it's going to take a bite out of manufacturing. They know that this is going to cost jobs. So I think Democrats have a problem with it as well. We should definitely figure out a way to work with the Democrats that don't like this. But, there's also a legal element to it. A lot of states have already tried to launch a lawsuit challenging Clean Power Plan. That will continue to play out in courts. You also see Congress considering legislation that would check the Clean Power Plan. And then on top of that, I want to point out that, states have typically set their own emissions levels. So the federal government going in and setting a national standard is unprecedented. It's a huge power grab. And I think states should not put up with it. I think they should not obey it. They should challenge it. Because the Obama administration is doing this completely arbitrarily. It is a democracy of one deciding this. This is something that voters have not asked for. This is something that elected officials besides Obama are not behind. So there should be pushback.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, Jillian. About 2.5 weeks ago, Hillary Clinton came out and she said that if she were elected president and if she is allowed to take over the Oval Office, she already has plans, she said, for the establishment of over $500 million, with a B, $500 million more wind and solar ventures out of our pockets, the taxpayers' expense. My question to you would be, this is going to take a lot of land mass. This is going to take a lot of land to put these solar factories and panels on and all these wind turbines, etc. Where are they going to get the land and who's going to fund all this?
Well, I think who's going to fund it? They're going to buy it out of money taken out of my wallet and my pocket. But if you're looking at the solar plan that she's put forward, I think it's a pretty good rule of thumb that when you have a lot of subsidies, when you have a lot of money coming out of the federal government and a lot of discretion exercised by that government to figure out where the money goes, you are creating a situation where it's possible to have corruption. We've seen these loans, we've seen these subsidies repeatedly go to green companies with political connections. So I would see this as more Hillary Clinton setting up a potentially corrupt system.
Josh Earnest, the White House spokesman, said something that I thought was so kindergarten the other day. He said that, by us, the United States, jumping on this green energy program, why we will encourage our enemies to join in, and we will encourage them to join in the great green energy movement. And I thought, you idiot, they're going to sit back and they're just going to relish the fact that we're diminishing our power, we're diminishing our assets, and the others are going to grow and take over the world. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think if you look at, I'm going to give you two examples that I think will put this into perspective. So first, look at China. We talked about that a little bit earlier about, how bad of a pollution problem they have, and that they're basically agreeing diplomatically to do nothing until 2030. I think that's because in China, the government's entire legitimacy rests on economic growth. They don't have a liberal democracy there. It's not votes, it's economic opportunity that's painting up that regime. And China still has 200 million people that are living on $1.25 a day or less. There is no way that the cadres in Beijing are going to compromise economic growth because they know it could compromise the stability of their regime. And then you look at a country like Russia. The United States, in the past about year and a half, overtook Russia as the world's top natural gas producer. We've also overtaken Saudi Arabia as the world's top oil producer. You've got Putin with a long history of using energy policy to threaten and bully Europe. I think he sees this as an opportunity. If the United States is going to create a disincentive for energy production, which it's doing with this policy, I think he is just thrilled about that because it gives Russia a bigger role.
Let me talk
use that as a foreign policy tool.
Let me talk a little bit as we wrap things up here this morning, Jillian, about our economy. And now, I'm not an economist. You probably know a lot more about this than I ever will. But the way I look at this, by the cancellation of coal industry and all the jobs that are going to be lost, and we look at the loss of how valuable it is to our economy to keep the electrical rates down, and then we look at they want to cancel fracking and they want to do as much as they can to diminish the oil business, all in favor of green energy. When you look at the economy and all the people, all the businesses, everyone that's going to lose their jobs or have diminished income, how can our very shaky economy stand that?
Well, it's worth pointing out that during the recession, the energy sector is one of the very few that grew. The situation has changed to a small extent, but we're setting up huge obstacles to what has been one of the most promising sectors of our economy. And we're doing it based on, claims that this is going to make a difference when it won't actually make a difference. So I think just the absolute foolishness and recklessness of that as a financial decision for the U.S. economy is mind-blowing.
Are you concerned, are you concerned that Obama is pulling the cork out of every bottle trying to get public acceptance of this weird idea, and he's also going to be meeting with Pope Francis at the White House in September, and I'm really concerned what's going to happen with the Pope and Obama and climate change and the oh, woe is me attitude. How concerned are you about that?
Well, I'm concerned about it, obviously. I think the Clean Power Plan is not the only environmental protection agency overreach. We've also got the ozone rules on the horizon, which by some estimates are going to be the most expensive regulations in history. So, yeah, I think if this is executive power being exercised very liberally, and if other branches don't act to check it, it's going to have serious repercussions for the economy. The Supreme Court has already warned the EPA that, some of the things that it has done in the past were overreach. I think the courts should come down on this hard, and I think Congress should come down on it hard as well.
Last thought, and I've only got about 30 seconds left, but is there any light at the end of the tunnel on this issue, or is it the Obama train coming at us head on?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are willing to fight this. I mean, you see it in more than a dozen states mounting a legal challenge. You see it in governors being outraged about this. You've seen a lot of public interest and public pushback, and a lot of members of Congress who don't like it, too. So, as much as I wish the Obama administration weren't taking this destructive course on our energy and environmental policy, I do think that it's encouraging that there are people who are willing to stand up and check it.
You got to promise to come back, Jillian, and be on our show in the future. Would you do that?
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. From the Franklin Center's Thomas L. Rhodes Fellow, Jillian Melchior. Thank you. God bless, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Very informative, very intelligent young lady right there talking about the idiocy, incompetency, any word you want to use, about green energy and the Obama administration. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, I know some common sense right now that we'll talk about, and that's Scarrows Meats. I got to get the weather forecast in here. Old Wheels is perched on that button ready for me to get off the air here and have the weather. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, my goodness, that hot summer barbecue special for only $199, total of 50 pounds of meat. You get New York strips, ribeye steak, sirloin tips, ground beef, pork chops, brats. Oh, it's delicious. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. And here is the weather.
Here's your weather forecast. We do have a 50% chance of rain, showers, and thunderstorms for today. High of 80, but it is going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the west right around 13 miles an hour. That's going to carry through this evening with a low right near 54. Tomorrow, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will see sunny skies. High of 84 with an overnight low of 55. And for Friday and for the weekend, cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Chances of afternoon rain, showers, and thunderstorms. That's going to be throughout the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 70s to mid-80s with lows in the mid-50s. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thanks, Gina, and brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Holy smokes, am I running late, and I got to tell everybody about our dear friends, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Yes, the very best in tires. Yes, the very best in brake service. Yes, the very best in front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, but also the very best in service. They really take care of you for your safe driving. Absolutely. You stop in and see them today. Always the great tires, always the great service, and all the other amenities offered to you with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Absolutely the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Really good folks. Holy cow, that was a great interview with Jillian. I'm sorry I ran a little bit late. Tomorrow, of course, is Thursday, and that is a potpourri of everything. And we're going to have a spokesperson from the Carly Fiorina camp for president on the air tomorrow morning at 10:30. Should be very interesting. So you tune in tomorrow morning at 8:06 right here on Zeb at the Ranch, K-Bar 1230 a.m. and streaming live on the internet all over the world, zebbell.com. And remember what we always say, and it is really true. The way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. Wheels, good job over at the station. Talk to everybody tomorrow at 8:06. God bless.